Hi, welcome to NDE TV. I'm Peggy Robinson. Today's guest is Darrin Shinabarger. Did I get it right? I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think I
right.
got it. Okay. You okay?
Yeah, sorry. I'm better.
Okay. And so you're going to tell us about your near-death experience.
hmm
And feel free to start where you like and take as long as you like.
Okay. All right. So I will take you back to it was May 13th, 2018. It was Mother's Day. And I really had no warning what was going to happen that day. It was a normal day. I was in the car business and stuff. Um, and I went to the casino that night and was with a friend and I'd hit two jackpots and thought everything was going real good. And we left there and went down the I was just a couple of miles away down at the down by this gas station, and I was with some other friends, and it felt like someone hit me right in the chest, like out of nowhere, like a big sword hit me right in my chest, and I buckled over. I was like, "Oh, something's wrong," and everybody thought I was. First they thought I was playing around, but I wasn't playing around. I was like, this is serious. Um, and I told my they were like, so once they realized I was serious, they're like, "Well, call 911," and they're wanting to call 911, and I grabbed my friend, and I pulled him in a little close. I was like, "Get me to the freaking hospital now!" And he saw the panic in my eyes, so we jumped in the car. Luckily, I was only a few miles away from a hospital, and when we got there, I remember we slid up to the the drive through the emergency room. I don't know, like we power slid up there, and I went to get out. I went to get out of the car, and my legs didn't work anymore, and I smacked my head real hard on the concrete. And I was like, "Oh my god!" I knew right then. I knew well. I knew how that this was real serious. Something real serious was going on here, and my friend ran and he was like, I was like, dude, and every time I tried to talk, it felt like there was a big vacuum over my mouth, pulling all my air out. So I was like, I'm dying. And he was like, no, you're not. No, you're not. He ran in and was like, my friend's dying out here. Somebody out here. When he came back here, I was like, I told you, I'm dying. He's like, I know, I just said that. Like, you know,
I can see
anyways,
this.
yeah. And we're hanging on, we're just hanging on to him like, oh shit. And I could feel myself like, that's it. I think, did you have a near death experience
Did I
yourself?
what?
Did you
What?
have a near death experience? So, did
Yes.
you? Okay. So, you might know what I'm talking about when you feel yourself dimensions crossing, like you feel yourself like crossing over. Like, it's hard. I don't
I
know how
knew I
what
was
you're.
dying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I knew that I was like my realities were morphine. Anyways,
Yes. Yes, I
they.
do. I felt it
they
was weird, but I thought wherever my pain just went, because my pain just suddenly left me. I felt like
yeah,
wherever my pain just went, that's where I'm going, which is such a weird thought.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they picked me up. They all came out there with a gurney, and I remember they threw me on this gurney. I had enough. I pulled out the stuff out of my pockets, and I gave it to my friend, and I was like, "Call my family." And my son, I have one son. He's 5 years old. Well, he's 10 now, but at the time he was five, soon to be six. And I wanted a child all my life, so it was real. I was really blessed. I was 41 when he was born. I didn't have any kids up until that point. So I was just thinking, "Oh, my God, I waited all my life to have a kid," and then, like. But anyways, I was like, get all of my family and tell my son I'll be back. I'm coming back. That's all I could think. And so they take me, they rush me down the hall, and I remember being on the gurney and everything's going quick, and I'm like, I was going in and out of like these dimensions, and like I could feel myself trying to pull out of myself. Like it was weird. Like I could feel like my spirit wanting to leave. Like, and I remember hearing him saying, "We're losing him." Code, you know, they're yelling code blue, and we're losing him. We're losing him. You know, and they get me back to this to the hospital or to the operating room, whatever. So my near death experience truly is from when I was being thrown on that table up until I get to the operating room. Because later, well, I ended up being, I had an aortic dissection. My
What?
aorta blew,
Oh,
an
okay.
aortic dissection.
Okay.
It blew at the top and it went all the way down into my leg. And it's one of the worst ones they ever saw that somebody survived. They didn't think I would even pull through it after they did the surgery. It was real. There was a lot of miracles that happened. Anyhow, so after I woke up, I was in a coma for about a month. After I woke up, I talked to my friend. He was like, "What happened?" So I told him, I'm like, "Well, you know what happened?" He's like, "No, man. When you were getting pulled back there, I heard you yelling for your dad." Well, my dad had passed away a year before this. Okay, so I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that." And he said, "Then you said you started yelling, 'Holy shit! I'm with I'm with Satan. You're with Satan.'" He
You're
goes, "You were
what?
like," he said that I screamed, "Holy shit! I'm with Satan. Somebody help me! I'm with Satan."
I'm with Satan.
And Satan, yeah. Which I mean, I don't remember seeing Satan. I don't know why I said that,
Okay.
other than the absence of God that I felt. Okay, but anyway, I'll get back to that.
Okay.
And then he said, and then you said, "Jesus saved me," and he said the whole hospital went silent. He felt like he was like, it freaked me out, dude. It was the weirdest thing. And he said, "I ran back there and they were like, 'You can't come back here,' blah blah blah." And he was like, I thought you died." I mean, it was this silence, and he was like, it was so weird. Well, as soon as he told me that, it was like it just all my memory came back and it flooded me. I couldn't even talk to him anymore. I remember I gave my mom the phone and I was like, "I can't talk." And every time I tell you what, for 2 days, every time I tried to even say what happened, I just was bawling, you know, like because it was so overwhelming. So when I was crossing over and I realized I was dying, um, it was like I went from being in the gurney to all of a sudden I'm in this black void. I was in a black void that was, and there was this black sludge everywhere I looked. I could kind of see it. It was like a maroonish sludge, but it was I could hear it dripping and like one, and it had this real negative feel. Like well, wherever I went, there was a negative. It was like the sin of the world and my sin, or just negative emotion. Like, and it was negativity that I've never experienced. Okay, I would say one thing I really got a taste of what the absence of God, whether you believe in it or not, believe in God, there's still a presence of God on this planet. I don't care what anybody says. That's my
He
belief.
exists
I'm
whether we believe
sorry.
him or not, doesn't he?
Yeah, right. But where I went, it was void of that, whether you believe in him or not, and it was the most terrifying. The best way I could compare it is like imagine being lost as a little kid on a vacation or something. You know, when you're away from your parents, or when you're lost or something. Times the good, you know, 10,000 to the 10th power. I don't know. It was. I've never felt so free. I just knew that I was in this terrible spot because in this negative, it had G force. It was so powerful, and it was like pushing me down. And I was like, I never felt so alone and cold. It was cold from the inside out. I couldn't. There was no way to get warm, and I started to panic, and I yelled, "Jesus, save me!" You know, and right when I yelled, "Jesus, save me," this was the really amazing part. Right in the right hand corner of my vision, it was like someone lit a match. It was like, and it just moved out. It was like if you lit some tissue paper on fire, just how it goes. That's what it did. It went and it engulfed me, and this light just grabbed me, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I felt like I peed my pants. tell you the truth. That's what it felt like. Kind of. I just
What
felt
was that? I
warm,
didn't hear
you
it.
know? I
What'd you
said I
say?
felt like I felt like I peed my pants. That's how warm
Oh,
I got. Yeah,
okay.
I'm giving it back. And I was something. I remember thinking, man, I'm safe. I did it. I'm cool. This is where, and I all of a sudden I got this feeling of completely belonging, and I was in a safe spot. And as I was like looking around this white light, realizing I've made it, I looked into this light, and the farther I looked into the light, because it was really deep light, these other colors started coming out of this light, and it was the colors of the rainbow spectrum, but there was these other colors that I can't really put words on because I don't know how to describe them because they're colors and I've never seen the colors before, so I don't know what they even call them. But they were beautiful. And as these colors kind of morphed around, I realized, wait a second, those are people, those are souls, those are spirits, those are souls, you know. And there was faces, they had faces and stuff, and they were, oh, the amount of joy that I could feel coming from their presence was undescribable. And I'll be honest, I never saw my dad. I didn't see anybody I recognized, but I felt like I knew everybody for a long, long time, and they were happy to see me too, you know. And I was like, wow. And at that moment, oh, and when you looked into this light, I realized, you know, everybody was on this same playing field of beauty, but everybody was uniquely beautiful, and there was no lustful component to it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like, you know, and that's the best thing I could say is what I really gathered when I came out of that. It was like I realized how much the world lies to us of what real beauty is. If you want to know, I mean, I've often thought, if you really want to know how beautiful you are, go hang out with a blind person for a while and have them describe you to somebody, or that, you know what I mean? Because they see you for the real you. And that's how I saw these entities was, God, we have this inner beauty that gets diluted by this world. It's so sad, you know. And there's an inner beauty that God's, it's the intended version, and that's what was there in this realm.
I'm picturing a little
And
kid's birthday party.
yeah, and
That
that's what I say.
innocent,
It was like,
you
yeah,
know.
when you see like a newborn, they're all beautiful little babies. You know, there's no, you know, and that's how it was. But these were, everybody was, you know, grown adults. It seemed like, I don't know if everybody was or not, but that's what I saw. Um, and I just remember thinking, man, this is beautiful. And then about that time, this other white figure, a white light figure that was a silhouette, and it was really tall. It was taller than me. Came out next to me, and I couldn't see a face. People often ask me, "Was it Jesus?" Because I yelled, "Jesus, hit me!" Possibly, I don't know. It didn't. He didn't say that. He didn't say. He just, it came out next to me, and I felt like it was there to walk me on in. But as soon as I looked up to it, uh, I don't know. It was like my son's life, or my, the absence of me and him, like it all went through my brain, and I was like, wait, I want to be back here, you know what I mean? Like I have to
Did,
raise my son.
did you say Jesus was there to walk you in?
I don't know who it was. They
Okay.
didn't say
Okay.
anything. People asked me
Okay.
if Jesus, if that was, that white light was Jesus.
Okay.
I wish I could say I know 100%. I don't know, but it felt like they were there to walk me in.
Okay.
I couldn't really distinguish a facial anything on this light. It was just like
Okay.
this. So, but as soon as I looked at it, it was like my son's life or my life. Like it went out without me there, and I just remember thinking, wait, not yet. Please let me go back. Please let me go back. You know, and boom, I come back, and it had been 5 weeks later, and I've been in a coma. Now there was other things that happened in those 5 weeks, so it wasn't like I came out of that dream and it had been 5 weeks. That was the near death experience. I also had weird drug-induced coma delusions that were more like dreams, where I can't really remember it all. Like I remember this verbatim, you know, and it has the memory is not faded. And what was weird was the dreams from my coma were real strong when I first came out of the coma. I can't really remember them now as well, you know. But when I came out of the coma, I didn't remember the near-death experience until I talked to my friend, and then it hit me all, and now I can't get that experience out of my head, you know. And now it's just it totally took me down a whole different road. I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ, and that's my beliefs.
Were you
I feel
before?
like I had been raised on it. I had kind of walked away from it. I was just, it was on the back burner kind of thing. You know, I was living very worldly. I mean, I wasn't concerned about my sinful natures or anything like that. I did what I wanted at all times. And that's part of the reason why I paid the price I have. But yeah, now I get it. I get it big time. And I couldn't imagine. I would feel like I'd be slapping, because it comes down to this. When I was crossing over and dying, and I know I was dying, I was code blue. You know, they had to bring me back. I screamed out for one name. I know that. I didn't say Buddha or Godzilla or nobody else to say. I said Jesus saved me, and all that happened. So I have to keep that in context. You know, how much we, you know, I remember going through life and asking, like, show me a sign. How much bigger of signs do I need? You know, so I'm not going to back down off that. I'm very confirmed in that. That's for me. And I hope it touches other people, because I think it's very important for people to get in touch with that heart. And it's there. So anyways, another thing that was like, this whole event was God timing. Okay. For example, even though I was at the casino on Mother's Day and not at home where I probably should have been, I happened to be right close to the hospital when this happened. If I was because they told me if I would have if I would have waited for a ambulance, I would have died. I was moments. They really don't know how I pulled through it, because this is like your main artery. All your blood's just going anywhere you want, everywhere, right? So I just happened to be at the right place, right time, kind of thing. Even though I shouldn't be. After I got there, the chief surgeon, the head surgeon, he didn't perform it, but he was the guy that's over all of it, the chief guy, the head of the ICU, surgical people, whatever. He came in and he told my family and me that he had never seen such an incredibly beautiful orchestrated surgery in his life. He said, Dr. Allen, he said, I've never seen anything like it. It was profound. I just want you to know you're a very lucky man. He kept on telling me. And I'm like, I believe you. Because I didn't really understand what happened to me for a while, you know. And then and another thing was Dr. Allen had just finished a full shift. Normally he doesn't work at the hospital that I went to. And he's the only man in this area that was highly skilled enough for this type of operation. And they would have had to life flight me to somebody else if he wasn't there. And he would happen to be doing a rotation there. He normally isn't there. And he just scrubbed out from doing a full shift when I showed up that morning. And he had to scrub back in, and he did a 7.5 hour surgery or whatever it was on me, you know, and which is amazing. And I'll tell you another thing, you know, surgeons can be kind of like godlike because they save lives all the time, right? So, you know, but this man, when I first time I saw my surgeon, I was like, Dr. Allen, the man with the magic hands. And he said, hey, buddy, he goes, I appreciate the compliment, but I'm going to tell you, in your case, you need to be thinking of the man upstairs, because I don't know how we're even talking right now. honestly. But I'm glad you are. And, you know, yeah, I'm this little Frankenstein protege. So,
What was that
uh,
last part?
I said I'm his little Frankenstein protege. You know, like
Oh,
put me back together. I mean, it was major
okay.
construction, you know. So, yeah. But so that's kind of like that's the gist of my story of how everything that kind of happened. And you know, I left in a wheelchair. I had to learn how to walk again. Um, yeah, change a lot of habits and stuff like that. And, it's been a rehabilitating, humbling experience. So, but me and my son are real close, so that's cool. He's 10 now, so
He's what?
he's 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Am I not coming in clear?
Yeah, just sometimes I think when you talk fast or something, I don't catch it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I talk soft. I know I do. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty much my that's my story there. That's happened with me. Um, I have a deep yearning to understand the Bible. I mean, my spirituality of it all. You know, before too. Yeah, I was kind of like raised in it, but I never took the time to read the Bible, and I made judgment on it before, and I never had read it. I made judgment,
Mhm.
and sitting in that hospital, I realized how can you make a you know I mean I just I just wanted to learn it. I wanted to know it because it's very vital to me. And how can you even make judgment unless you read it? You know, but even if there was no Bible, I know what, like I said, I cried out for Jesus, and I was given a second chance. And I just want to share my testimony now. So,
What's it like when you share your story?
what's it like? Well,
Hmm.
I couldn't do it for a long time. Well, I did it one time on my Facebook just because I had so many, I have a lot of friends and stuff. I had so many messages. I just did a live broadcast on my Facebook to tell all my friends what happened. And that's how this all got started. I didn't even know there was NDE shows on YouTube. Somebody reached out to me because my Facebook got passed around. And that's how it all started. Um, hold on. I was, is this better? If I have it like this, is that better?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, that's how it got started. But at first, I had a hard time telling this story because I broke down a lot it was really emotional. But now enough time has gone by and years that um, I share it with people now, and I've been doing it, you know, for this was 5 years ago. It happened. I didn't start sharing it until just like maybe a year or two ago.
So technically, was it a heart attack? I mean, and it blew this main artery, or
It's aneurysm. I had a big aneurysm that busted on my aorta valve. That's the valve that comes out of your heart and pumps blood to all your other extremities all through your body.
okay.
So it blew at the very top, and then it ripped all the way down into my groin. So I was just losing blood everywhere. I got on there that when they told me about it, I'm like, my gosh, opening me up, that had to be a mess.
Yeah.
But I have nerve damage in my spine and stuff, so I don't walk like I used to. I can't run. I can walk, but I can't run. Or I have
This
a
caused that damage?
yeah, yeah. So much blood loss.
Okay.
It messed up a lot of the nerves. So I can ride a bike, so I like to go riding my bike a lot. But that's about and swim that helped me build up strength a lot. But yeah, it was
What about your near-death experience amazes you the most?
what about amazes me most? I feel like I got a taste of both situations. I think I crossed over, and I really believe that it's definitely dimensional. Even though my body was here on the table and they were going to go for surgery, my soul was going somewhere else. My spirit crossed somewhere else because I was not there. I was in this other place. And I got a real good, I always heard about, like, okay, like Jesus on the cross when he's like, whatever, Father, why have you forsaken me? Because he had, when he took on the whole sin, the absence of God. I didn't know what that even really meant until I had this experience. And I understand that place I went, there was a void. That void was an absence of God. And I realized that. And actually it, by sharing these experiences, I've gotten to actually understand what's happened to me more, like to understand this and more I study, like that's what that was. It was negativity. It was all the negative emotions. It was, that's how I see it. And then I also got to go and see the other side and feel the holy, the pure emotions, the good emotions. And like I said, there's people were joyous, not happy. I'm talking about joyous. That's totally different than being happy. And that's an incredible thing for me. I can see different. Okay, like I've told my mom this too. Like I didn't really believe in this stuff before, but I can see auras on people now. Not all the time, but a lot of times I can. And it's just their energy that comes off of them. It's kind of weird. And I don't know how well I might have always been able to do that. I just didn't notice it before. I don't know, but now I have it. I can notice that stuff a lot.
I've heard that a few times. I can't help but wonder if, what we see on the other side when we see these other beings, see people, or is we're seeing their aura. I mean, just throwing that word out there. But, and then when we come back, it's like not our physical eyes, but our soul eyes recognize that because we've seen it
Yeah.
before.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. Because when I talk about those people that I saw in the white light, those were definitely auras. But as you focused in on the aura, then you could see a physical form, kind of physical, but the best way I could describe it. I don't know if it was like 3D, physical, but the image of the physical was there.
It just seems like a lot of the things we experience on the other side, when we come back, we re-experience them. It's like another sense, that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
Whether it, say if we experience telepathic communication of people, whether it was in a heavenly realm or in, just out of body in an earth realm, and if we sense their emotions or heard their thoughts, it seems like when we come back, that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard to
Yeah.
incorporate that when we have this brain, and the brain is used to thinking and doing and sensing things in one way, and then here's this other thing going on
Yeah. Yeah.
that people
Well,
don't talk
that's
about.
what's one thing I do, because you just brought up a good point about the brain. As time goes by, the enemy likes to sow doubt. So, I mean, when this first happened, I mean, it was as real as us talking, right? That it was so powerful. But now, if I let it, also doubt will start to try to play in. So actually, by going in and reading scripture and touching on little things, I'm like, man, that was so real, and it gives me that verification of truth. And not that no one would ever be able to convince me that what happened was not real. No one will
I
ever
know
be
what you
able to.
mean.
You can chalk it up and say, oh, that's just your conscience and trauma. And, yeah, whatever. I know what I experienced. And
I'll
I
catch
know the difference
myself.
between
I'll
I
catch
know the
myself.
difference
Well,
between
that just
dreams.
confirms everything. I'm thinking, weren't you confirmed before?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's how yeah. And I don't know. A lot of people, I don't know. I I've had people say stuff like, "Well, you were raised in your uh, Christian background, so that's why that trauma happened. That's why that happened. I'm like, no, I don't believe that at all, because I was just kind of like, look, at first I wasn't saying God help me. I was like, I realized I was dying, and I was like looking for my dad. I realized, I'm like, whoa, like when I was telling you, like I knew I was dying, so my my realities were crossing over, and I can't like explain. Like it was like I knew I was on the gurney, but then I was like, I'm believing that they're losing me. So I'm like, where's my dad? Where's my dad? And I was trying to see my dad. I wasn't crying out for Jesus to save me, but when I went to this place, yeah, that was the only thing I knew to say. And that was like right when they were like trying that they were losing me. I was coding stuff, and
I've heard
so
people say, why did you show me all this stuff and then send me back? And, they want to go back. And I think sometimes we're not shown things like, say, your dad, or I know some other people that thought they would see their dad and they didn't see their dad. They might have seen their, mother-in-law, father-in-law, or brother-in-law,
yeah.
but, and so I just, and then, people ask me, well, I wonder why you didn't see anything, real loving and feel the love. And like, because I probably wouldn't have fought to get back here
Yeah,
if I had.
yeah, yeah. I don't. I honestly don't think I would have came back if I wouldn't have asked for like I had a choice. When that being came up next to me, I know I had a choice, because I was like, wait a second, not yet. Wait a second, hold on, time out, not yet. And I really believe I was given that chance,
I know a
because
emergency room doctor that wrote a NDE book called Not Yet, where
yeah,
people
really,
say not yet. It's a common thing
yeah,
apparently.
yeah. I've read a couple of NDE books, and it's amazing the common threads, because I didn't ever like know anything about NDEs and stuff. Matter of fact, before this happened to me, I probably would have been a more skeptical person that would have been like, oh, that's trauma to the brain or whatever. I would probably have been one of those people, honestly, because like I said, I was raised to be spiritual, but I had a real practical sense to me too. Like, but now, I mean, I spent the last 5 years doing a lot of connecting the dots, and I
I do too.
I love it. I,
Mm-hmm.
I've I love it, and I'm glad I got to live this last part of my life out in a. And I'm not perfect by any means. I sin all the time. I don't, but I am prompt to repent and try to do better every day. I really feel like I do my best. I quit a lifestyle that was pretty off the chain. I'm not going to go into details of that, but I was pretty wild. We'll just say that. I quit smoking. There's a lot of things that I've changed about myself, and I help recovering people, recovering addicts, stuff like that now.
And I
And
think if we walked around acting like saints, who's going to relate to us? There's not that many saints out
right,
in the world that are wanting saved by us. We're just ordinary
no,
people.
right, with a story to give, and like I said, yeah, I honestly, I believe I got to come back, but I would have this ailment now. Like I have to watch myself, but I can't be the young stud that I thought I was at one time, because I have this kind of a limp, and I walk like a really old man now and stuff. So it's
You miss your
humbling.
strut.
There you go. I lost that. So it's humbling, and I believe that, though, this is so I have a daily reminder of what happened, where I've been, and but at least I feel good of where, when that time comes again, what's going to happen now. So
How does it feel when you remember being in the white light and the joy of the people? And
I just never felt that much content, acceptance, content, and being, when you feel like, have you ever been like at the exact right place at the exact right time, and you're like, man, it couldn't have been better than that, like it was just that moment just encompassed in reality. It was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. It was home at a level that I never even experienced what home meant before. That's what could say. I felt like I was completely home, and
Did the people look like normal people, or was they just like colors?
it was colors, but they looked like people. By all means, they looked like people. I mean, I saw faces, their faces, and they just had this joy radiance that came out of them, you know. And like I said, I maybe if I would have stayed, I would have recognized people. But what I saw, I didn't recognize anybody. But I felt like I knew them all, you know, like strangers in a dream, you know, like I know who you are. You know, it's like it's weird, really bizarre.
2 years ago, I passed out and fell and hit the floor, and just for a few seconds, but I was right, my head was right by the wall, and it felt like inside the wall was, like where the insulation and wiring is, before the other side of the wall. Like
Uh,
there are people in there. Like I was like this close, like there was this barrier, and I guess it's like if you hear people talking and you visualize people talking, it was like that. So I didn't see
uh,
them. I think I like visualized them, and they were all so tight together, like shoulder to shoulder, like there's no social distancing. Like they're all
yeah,
like this huge room, and and they were partying. I mean, they were just so happy talking. And
yeah,
I could see the hot, short and tall, the heights, and see as men and women, and they were so happy and excited. I want to go there. And there was one woman talking to me, and I kept saying, "What? What?" Is either she was talking to me as I was that close to her. I was hearing her more than anybody else. I kept saying, "What? What?" And then I kind of like talked to myself. It's like curiosity killed the cat. You keep
yeah,
going and you won't come back. I needed to
yeah,
listen to my husband who's yelling, "Baby, baby." He was trying to get me to come too. He said my
yeah.
eyes was flickering. He says, "You just had a few seconds." I said, "I know, but something happened." I said, "It wasn't an NDE.
Wow.
I'm not saying that." I said, "But I was always kind of jealous of people that have these happy, people there stuff, because, my drowning NDE when I was 5, it was just me by myself, this out of body, and nobody could see I was there. And I was running around, it's a yard of kids and nobody knows I'm there. Trying to talk to these boys walk down the highway. They don't know I'm there. And the only people knew it was there was these old people. I believe they were ghosts. They're sitting around this table in his house. And so where can I find kids to play with? They said, check the graveyards. Like, so it was like I was alone pretty much.
They said
And
check
then
the graveyard. They said
I
check
didn't go
the
to I didn't
graveyard.
make it that far. I was playing.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
But
That's kind of wild.
um and then my second NDE when I was 25, it was through the tunnel and the bright white light and, panel of people, I call it, and God and Jesus and all this begging and screaming, fighting to come back, sobbing and bawling. And so I didn't have any really, beautiful experience, right? So I've always been
Yeah,
a little bit envious of people. And I thought, well, I probably didn't get a beautiful experience because I tend to be a little suicidal, rebellious. Like if I don't want
yeah,
to be here, I won't, like,
right.
and because I felt that way after my drowning, like, that was fun. And so I kind of wanted to go back. That's why I said we're probably not showing too much or we would go back. But so when I had that like 2 years ago, it was like, wow, even though it was real tiny, I really treasured it, even though it was a few seconds, because it made me
Yeah,
think of that when you're talking about, and that's why I was picturing like a kid's birthday party. It was just like they were having so much fun. They were so happy.
yeah,
Just chitter, chatter,
yeah,
chatter, chatter. Did you hear any
yeah.
chatter or talking or
Oh
anything?
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were all fellowshipping, I guess you'd say. They
Mm-hmm.
were all just all talking, and it was just yeah, it was just like a high school dance almost. Just everybody was happy as could be. Yeah. Yeah, my sister passed away a year after this happened. She had cancer. Before she passed, I got to share my experience with her, and I hope it eased her some. I think it did, but yeah. Uh,
Isn't that special? I was that way with my mother-in-law as she was passing, you know,
mhm. Yeah,
because I think
yeah,
she didn't know whether to believe me or not. That last year of her life, she was starting to realize I was telling the truth. She says, "Your
yeah,
story
yeah.
never changes."
You're right. Oh, sorry, she was calling.
And
Okay,
so as she's on her
yeah,
deathbed, I'm like, "Janice, you know where you're going?" As everything I told you was true. She read my book. I said, every word
Yeah.
was true. I said, you're going to see your son. She had a son that died at 5 years old of leukemia. His name's Jeffrey. I
Yeah.
said, you're going to see Jeffrey again. You're going to see your mom and dad. You're going to see this person, that person, you know. And I was like excited. It wasn't this sad. Please don't go. The woman's in severe,
Yeah.
her heart condition. They said, you know, she can't speak anymore, you know, at the last couple of days. They said, but she's in a tremendous amount of pain. And so why would I want to hold her there? You know,
Right. Right.
I was like, Janice, it's okay. You know, this is where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of told my sister that too, because it was kind of past the point of there was nothing they could do. So, and I was just like, you know, her name's Verla, and I was like, you know, Verla, you know my story. She had me tell her again and stuff. I think it helped a lot, you know. So, and
We should get these podcasts sent to hospice places, or
that's
you
a
know,
darn good idea. That's a good idea. Good job,
they could
Peggy.
listen to them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a point where you have to, especially on hospice, you have to kind of accept what's getting ready to come, you know. And I've had some close, because now I'm always on my watch. I could blow again. You know, this is something that
Oh,
happened. I mean, I'm fixed, but they got to watch me. They every six, now they do it about every year. I go in and check, make sure that none of the, I have a couple more aneurysms, but they're making sure instead of it rupturing, we catch it before it does rupture and we fix it. But you never know what could happen. So, but I had a couple of close things I was worried about. So it makes it a lot easier to know. But
I
I
hear
like that
kids in the
idea.
background. Is it your son?
Yeah, he's playing his video games in the next room. he just started his spring break, so they're all overexcited, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
yeah.
want to keep you from enjoying your evening. Is there anything else you'd like
Okay.
to share?
No, that's my experiment. Or that's my experiment. That's my
Experiment.
testimony. Experiment. Not experiment. That's my testimony. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I appreciate you having me on. And
Okay. Well,
Natalie
you're
said I
welcome.
love working with you. Natalie
Okay.
said I love working with you. She thought you were a pretty neat lady.
Oh, I love
But
Natalie.
yeah,
She's
yeah, she's
adorable.
great. Yeah, she's great. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, let me know when this gets posted. I don't know. I mean,
I'll
how
send it
soon
to
you
you in the
posting it?
morning. It should be ready by morning. I'll send it to you as soon as it's ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
Peggy.
Uh.
Bye.